Hello, everybody. I hope you are doing well. I hope you are okay. So today's course is about types of complainer guests in hotels and restaurants. So as you can see, the picture, okay, displays or shows different types of guests. And when there is a complaint or when there are complaints, it means the person is not satisfied. So there is lack of something, there is lack of understanding, there might be lack of good service, especially when we talk about your domain, which is either in the hotel or a restaurant. So in this course, we will try to cover different types of guests and different types of reactions. And of course, we will try to find some solutions that would satisfy the guests and to avoid also troubles either with the guests or with the manager, be it in the hotel or in the restaurant. So let's go and try to discover together. So types of complainer guests in hotel and restaurants. Okay, these are the objectives or the things that we are going to discover, and find out together in this lesson. A brief look into the guest complaint, detailed description of the types of complainer guests, and finally, how to deal with them. It means how to deal with both complainer guests and how to deal with their complaints. A brief look into the guest complaint. Handling guest complaint in hotel or restaurant has been a prime concern for most hoteliers. In a hotel or restaurant, every day different types of guests come and go. It is you as a server or hotelier have to handle all types of guests. So here, okay, because as I said before, people are not the same, and people have different mentalities, and sometimes you find schizophrenic guests. So it's quite normal because this is life, and everything is different, which means you are not the same as me, and me, I'm not the same as the others. So we are different from each other, and that's also sometimes positive and some other times negative. So different types of complainer guests in hotel and restaurant. According to the expressions of the complainer guests, we can classify them into three categories. Let's learn some different types of complainers to handle them properly. The first type is intellectual type or intellectual complainer guest, and the second one is offensive guest or offensive type, and the last one is distressed type. So for the intellectual type complainer guest, such guests are generally older in age. They complain in depressed mood with calm tone and beat you with their logical arguments. These guests are quite easy to handle, but sometimes you may you may find quite irritating to you. So normally intellectual people, even though they complain, you find it a little bit difficult to react and to handle their guests, especially when they try to argue. Especially if they argue with references, and if they argue and complain in a very civilized manner, so then you find it a little bit difficult to okay, react aggressively maybe, or try to have a verbal fight. So how to deal with them, how to deal with this type of people. uh, First is you should listen their logic properly. So as we said in the very beginning, in the first course since we started, is to be a good listener. It means you should always be a good listener, because if you don't listen, you don't know how you are going to react. And finally, or consequently, you will fall into troubles with your guest. To know the facts. What does it mean? It simply means try to find out the facts why this guest is complaining. Is he not satisfied with the service? Did he order something and another server brought him something else? It means he received what he didn't order. So we try to look for the facts. Next, don't rush to agree to apologize. To apologize first. So don't don't try to apologize first. So you should look and deeply scrutinize where is the problem. And next, you should be logical. So the guest complains about something. You shouldn't tell him about something else which is irrelevant to your topic. So you should always keep okay logic and a kind of relevance. It's okay. Next, don't promise anything you are not sure they will remember every single detail. Don't promise him that you are going to do something, and maybe your manager won't agree on what you are going to do. So tell him that I'm going to do my best to replace you maybe with another meal. I'm going to try to do my best to handle the situation. Don't make a promise. Finally, don't afraid on their cool, calm voice and influencing personality. So, as you know, intellectual people are, as I said, difficult to handle. So try to be as calm as possible and don't try to make any promise that you won't keep. The second type is offensive complainer guest. Such guests are mostly found in restaurants than in hotels. Offensive guests, uh, offensive guests Offensive guests express their emotions loudly with weak language, behave rudely, and try to gather public attraction. Be prepared to take hard actions to handle such guests. So this type of guests they are offensive, and of course, most of us by humanity by nature we get angry when we receive some especially some bad terms or bad language from the guest. So we should always try to be as calm as possible. So the solution, how to deal with them, don't react aggressively, don't try to react the same. Be friendly and try to handle with calm approach. Isolate the guest, offer him to take in corners, suggest them to sit down. So this is a very good point and positive idea. Don't try to argue with the guest, especially with this type, okay, I mean, offensive people or offensive guest. Don't try to speak him with him, sorry, in public, because other guests may notice something which they won't like, and consequently they are going to have a maybe negative viewpoint or point of view about you and about the business you work for in general. Keep eye contact, and finally, don't interrupt. Don't interrupt. Let them show their emotions first. So, as you know, aggressive people and okay, offensive people, they don't like, they hate being interrupted. So let them finish their talk. How to deal with them again? So try to find the right moment to respond. Take notes of their complaint. If you can't handle them, refer to the superior one. If nothing makes the complainer calm and if he continues misbehaving, then don't hesitate to call the security. So the last solution, you call the other, okay, the other side. And by the other side, I mean superior or supervisor, somebody who is going to handle the situation better than you. This is not despising, okay, it does not, okay, make you valueless, but you get out of troubles and you try to, okay, to let the responsible side to solve the problem. Finally, distressed complainer guest. Often you may find some guests who look not feeling comfortable. Sometimes they show anger, sometimes remain silent, and sometimes harshly question their total presence, body movement, gesture, posture, language will make you feel they are not happy with the atmosphere. So this is the last type. They, as you, if you can say, they might seem as schizophrenic somehow, but they are not. So before they complain at you, approach to them and ask them, "Is everything all right, sir, or madam, or miss?" Okay, it depends on the type of the person. Try to find out why they are distressed. If they are not satisfied with your service and facilities, then follow previously discussed tips to make them satisfied. Final remarks: whoever your guests are, or whoever your guests are, try to meet your standard an hotelier. All the time, be prepared to serve any kind of guests. Never forget the old saying, guest is always right. Or the guest, or the guest is always the king, as we say. So because he is the capital indirectly. Okay. So this is the end. Now we move to the last part of this first part. The first task, as usual for the writing, is to paraphrase the lesson in short paragraph, and the second task, or the second mission, is the most important one. So imagine you are the manager of a hotel or restaurant, and one of the guests have a problem with the server. How could you, or how would you react? Are you going to fire the server because he or she doesn't make right decisions? Or are you going to calm down the guest and try to find a solution? So I want your opinion, and I want to put yourself in the situation. So from now to then, I wish you the best of luck. Take much care of yourselves. Peace.